Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. Now let's get to our interview with the guest of the day. I am joined by a constitutional lawyer and political analyst, Dr. Abayomi, for discussion on President Tinubu's renewed hope agenda and ministerial expectations. Thank you very much for joining us, Doctor.
Thank you.
All right, let's start by assessing President Tinubu's administration. It is about 55 days since President Tinubu assumed office. How will you assess it?
Well, he has 5 more days, but in terms of performance, he's done very well in 2 respects. First, he was courageous to confront the initial issues that agitate the minds of Nigerians. We have, for quite many years now, as a people, have been offended by this issue. Importation by just a few people, making so much money, and a lot of corruption in this regard. Is able to cancel that, so that we'll actually face our problems squarely. The abnormal governance in the central bank was confronted, but a more significant development is the fact that he listened to the voices of Nigerians with regard to this, what I would call crazy commitment to give 8,000, I think, to 12 million families out of a population of 200 million. The Nigerian people consider it unreasonable, and they express their opinions. I'm particularly glad that we see the reaction of a human rights president, in the sense that the voices of the people of Nigeria became power of government and decided the will of government. That was why he decided to retreat from that, what I'm afraid I consider to be a misadventure. In these regards, I think he has done very well.
All right, Doctor. The president based his election campaign on the renewed hope agenda. How promising is this document for development of the country?
Well, the renewed hope agenda is obviously focusing mainly on economic transformation of the country. The reality of the matter is the wealth of the nation is one of the most significant duties. Raising the wealth of a nation is one of the most significant duties of any government. As it is said in Swiss money journals, money talks, wealth whispers. Committing a government to enhancing the well-being of the people depends on the wealth of a nation. Getting the government to provide the basic needs of the people depends on the wealth of government. Even the recognition and the regard of nations in our world depends on the wealth of a nation. So now, and this is the point I was making, when people like us supported the president, that the most important president for this time must be a president who can create wealth and manage it for the benefit of the people. You cannot manage poverty. It's difficult to manage poverty. And the only way to manage poverty is to turn poverty to wealth by raising capital for any nation. I believe the effort now to clean up the system, he has already started in the oil sector, in the financial sector. He has dissolved many of these boards. He has appointed some responsible leaders, and he's given them his words, his mandate, his expectation. So we are moving up as a nation.
So to what extent will you say the president has implemented the renewed hope agenda?
He has just started. I just said he is beginning. Obviously, the implementation this is just a period of testing, so to say. The serious work will begin when he constitutes his cabinet. The truth of the matter is that the problems and the challenges of Nigeria is much larger than the capacity of one mind. As my old uncle, my old late uncle said when he was retiring, wisdom comes from sources we least expect. When the president constitutes his cabinet, and actually what I was expecting is before any major decisions, any further major decisions are taken, the cabinet should be constituted and they should be called into action, debate the hope agenda, decide the order of execution and the priorities. That's what I expect. So what I'm in essence saying is that he has started, but this is just at the beginning. The river is still yet to flow with strength and vitality.
So, Doctor, let me tell you what some analysts are saying, which is that the president has not implemented any aspect of the agenda. They are saying all that he's doing is what he inherited from the administration. Do you agree with this?
No, I don't agree. It's not the president that will implement the agenda. It's the government. And under the Constitution, the president is only part of the government. He's only head of the government. What he needs to do as an essential part of the implementation of the Hope Agenda is to constitute a good government for the good people of Nigeria. And I believe he's busy at doing that. All the decisions he has taken so far is laying the foundation for the great transformation, which is essential in the Hope Agenda document.
All right, Doctor, you commended the president for taking some bold decisions, but some of these decisions, which is fuel subsidy removal, is generating so much backlash. How will you advise the FG to handle this?
The Nigerian people must be ready to make the sacrifice for the transformation. If you remember what the famous, I think it was Harold Wilson, the president of UK, the prime minister of UK, during the time, I think it was during the Second World War. I promise you tears, blood, and sweat. I have nothing to promise you. So be ready to face the challenge. In the same manner, the president needs to let the people of Nigeria know that we will go through a period of inconvenience, It may even be a period of financial dislocation before we begin the journey to a better life. Naturally, the removal of subsidy will bring a lot of discomfort, will bring a lot of pain. But what choice do we have? Do we want just 0.000% to have over 90% of the wealth of the nation, while 90% of the people have nothing? I don't think that's what we expect from a human rights president. The people, their interests in their generality to be the primary choice. But the people must be willing to sacrifice. We are in a state of war, economic war, literally. Considering the debt of this nation, considering the level of corruption in this nation, considering the disorderliness in the management of our wealth, considering the irresponsibility of leaders, considering the loss of hope, considering the pain of the common man, any president who is ready must let us know that together we must face these challenges. It is not just the people alone. The government itself must face the challenge, must demonstrate through its actions, its decisions, its choices, its movements, even its consumption, that is making the sacrifice in order for the people to acquire believability, in other words, to have interest in the hope agenda.
But doctor, looking at how the hardship is pushing more Nigerians into poverty, should things continually be put at the mercy of market forces? Shouldn't government slow down at some point?
You know, it's very convenient. Here is the point. I always tell my children that I always make the more difficult choice. I once had a meeting with my children, and they were asking me, considering how principled I am, how was it that I was able to get to where I got to, considering that I faced the arena of life at a disadvantage, having lost my father at 1 year old. I told my children I always make the more difficult choice because it allows me to think, to work hard, to endure, and to triumph. The people of Nigeria must be ready at this point to make a more difficult choice. But I believe if we can endure the pain of childbirth, we will celebrate the joy of birth of a new baby. But that stress, that pain that a woman endures, should the woman say that, look, because of this pain, I won't have a child? Every woman wants a child in spite of the pain. Let the Nigerian people look for the wealth that a new baby, a new government, renewed hope will bring. But they must be ready to endure the hard, harsh pain of going through that stress to have that new agenda.
All right, doctor. Well, I'm not sure, or I'm sure ordinary Nigerians are not tired of sacrificing for the development of this country. But for you, where and how do you think government at all levels, what kind of sacrifices do you think government at all levels should make at this point?
First and foremost, government must work hard to reduce corruption, because one of the terrible neuroses of this nation is corruption. Leadership corruption is the greatest threat to national development. Government must reduce consumption.
Dr. Abayomi, are you there? All right, tonight we're speaking with a constitutional lawyer and political analyst, Dr. Tunji Abayomi. Tonight we're discussing President Tinubu's renewed hope agenda and ministerial expectations.
The law works, particularly that the law controls the appetite of leaders. These are areas. Then governments need to ensure that we have a tidy government, a tidy and efficient government. These are areas that I believe governments need to work hard to demonstrate to the people of Nigeria that, yes, there is a basis for hope in hope agenda.
All right, Doctor. So let's talk about the federal government's planned cash transfer to Nigerians, which is generating negative reactions. Why is this so?
What did you say?
All right, so that's the planned cash transfer to Nigerians as palliatives. This is generating negative reactions. Why is this so? Why is this generating negative reactions?
It's simplistic, considering the challenge we face. That's why I was talking of making a more difficult choice. It's highly simplistic. First and foremost, it will not reduce our problems, it will only compound it. In my view, it's very illusory. Secondly, with due respect, we have gone through this path once before. We've passed through this path before. What was our gain? We must learn from our experiences in order to know what to do. It was Abraham Lincoln who said, to make a difference, you cannot walk on a beaten path. You must burn and thirst for distinction. If you have to walk on the same path that brought us no benefit, how does it make sense? And I'm proud of Nigerian people, very proud of Nigerian people. Almost in unity, they raised their voice in spite of their suffering. They said they didn't want the money because it only increased their pay. What they want is to make the sacrifice. Let the government join them in making the sacrifice and rebuild this nation to greatness. And this nation has potential, possibility, as I said in my book, State and Citizens, to be one of the leading nations in the world, considering the fecundity of our citizens, the energy of the youth, and the wisdom of the elders.
All right, Doctor. So looking at it from all of the angles available to you, how will you describe the way the president has handled the matter so far?
I'm proud of the president. Like I said, I would have been terribly disappointed if out of pride, government pride, he says he's going to go ahead because the decision has been made and pronounced upon in spite of the rejection of the people of Nigeria. You know, we have had governments in the past. They say government has spoken, and it is decree. We are now in a democracy. Government of the people, by the people, and for the benefit of the people. It's not government of leaders, by leaders, and for the benefit of leaders. To the extent that the government listened, and in many decisions the government has taken so far, it is apparent that it's examining the thoughts, it's listening to the voices of the people. It's looking at their disposition in order to take the decisions the government is taking. And you listen to the president talking to a women group just a few days ago. or even yesterday or 2 days ago, he said, I understand the pain, I understand the sacrifice, I know. But you are women, you know very well. For them to enjoy the happiness of a new birth, you have to go through the pain of childbirth. That is a president. He must speak to the people. He must let them know that he understands their pain and he's willing to turn the pain to joy, to turn their tears to laughter. That's what a president is supposed to be, and that's why he's elected.
Great. So let's talk about revenue generation, which has remained a challenge from one administration to another. What do you think can be done to boost this?
The way to do that is to tax the taxable. There are lots, particularly the wealthy in this nation. Anything goes. You go to Germany, for example, there's a discussion about in Germany to have free education. But to get free education in Germany, you pay 45% of your wealth goes to tax for national development. You go to Britain, you go to America, no nation can expect to have resources to develop without an efficient tax system. Now, when you have tax system, you raise wealth and capital. That will now be transformed to development, to education, to industry. And so you get more people employed. And when you do that, you have more tax. So that is important. Development of industries is also crucial, but you need money for that. Now, there are lots of sectors in this nation that is great transformation, great transformation, not only in terms of avoidance of corruption or considerably reducing it, but increase efficiency. When a system is inefficient, it becomes very corrupted and corruptive. The government needs to have good minds, not merely good hands, who can think. I think it was the time of King Arthur who said, this is the time of King Arthur when we must reach for the skies. That's what the government needs to do for this time that we are in. Because a lot of our people are losing hope and faith in their own country. And it shouldn't be so.